tourism experts. Hi guys, welcome back to our talk show where we talk about tourism, travel, everything that you need to know if you're planning to join the tourism industry. My name is Lynette, chilling with
Alan,
talking about tourism and travel. So today we have a very interesting topic that everyone who thinks about tourism in East Africa, in Uganda, thinks about.
Yeah.
Alan, let's talk about permits.
Okay, Lynette, would you pay $800 just to walk for 6 hours in a dense forest and spend 1 hour with the gorillas?
Having done this already, I would do it again.
Okay, now this is the twist that actually our viewer needs to understand. Or what if that the $800 that you pay is actually the reason why the gorillas are still alive?
Ooh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So first tell us about your experience with gorilla trekking.
This was 2019. I was in Nkuringo. So I was working there. And my employer at the time was like, Lynette, you can't be working in Nkuringo when you haven't actually. Nkuringo is one of the towns that is next to the tracking sectors of gorillas in Uganda. So Uganda has 5 tracking sectors. 4 are in Bwindi Impenetrable National Park. And then 1 is in Mgahinga Forest National Park. So the ones in Bwindi, there is Buhoma, there is Ruhija, there is Rushaga, then there is Nkuringo.
Yeah.
There's another one which is being worked on, but it's not yet open. So those are the 5 areas where you can track gorillas in Uganda.
Yeah.
So I was in Nkuringo. And
actually, I also tracked in Nkuringo, but okay, first give us experience.
Wow. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, so the terrain in Nkuringo is a bit more adventurous compared to other terrains. So for me, it was a very fulfilling experience because we got to see the conservation live. So we get to walk through the community and then we go into the tree plantation, which is the buffer zone. And then we walked into the park, into the national park, which is the thick, impenetrable forest.
Yes.
You know, that's why they call it impenetrable, because it's a tropical rainforest.
Yeah.
And while I was doing this, at the back of my mind, I kept remembering the bigger picture. You know, this wildlife 10, 20 years ago was endangered species. Now it has grown to a population where it's, you know, it's comfortable. It's not endangered anymore, but you can't, it's well conserved, but still you can't just, you know, let it go. You have to continuously conserve it. And that's why the price of $800 came into play. So as I was tracking, I kept thinking about it. And then when we reached where the gorillas were, it was a big family. There were little ones, there were babies, there were the teenagers, the ones that were jumping on the trees. There was the father somewhere sleeping. You know, the silverback, it was somewhere sleeping, but often opening its eye, you know, to see what's happening, what's not happening. So it was a really rewarding experience because they look very similar to us, by the way, you know. And it's just like if you're a parent, you know, like you're seeing, it's like you're at home seeing your children playing around the place, you know. So for me, it was a very life-changing experience because they're very close to humans, you know, the way they move, their DNA, even the way they look, their eyes, their nostrils, everything, they're very similar to us as humans. And even in their behaviors, in their characters, in their movements, they're very similar to us, even in communication. So for me, it was very life-changing to be in the same environment with them.
Now, let me tell you for me. First of all, I cried. I cried, Lynette, when I saw this.
Why have you made my story move from 100 to 12? Like, even me, I cried. Lynette, you never told me.
There is a glory around this mountain gorilla. I'm telling you the truth.
Now, why Why?
Lynette, after walking for like about 4 hours, we walked for like 4 hours, and then I like the way how rangers keep on telling you, no,
Very soon, just behind that hill.
Soon. Yeah, you wait. They're there. They've told us they're there. So, you keep on getting hopes.
Yeah.
But at some point, I was tired. And I'm like, man, tell us the truth. Are we soon seeing the gorillas? I'm eager, but I'm tired. So you know that feeling.
Imagine, yeah.
I want to see this thing, but I'm tired.
You also want to go back.
So now we reach somewhere, and now the rangers start telling us, shh, keep quiet, keep quiet. Then you're close to the what? The mighty gorillas. And I kept quiet. They started, there is one there. We found a family here. Now that was the moment. Even till now, my friend, then my friend started, I was working with a colleague, and he tapped me. Ale, there is one there, a silverback. Lynette, that experience till now, even when I talk about it, I feel like I can shed tears again.
Wow.
It was life-changing. Then I see this mighty man. He's seated down here, also conformed. You're passing by and he's not bothered. He's just seated here. Then after looking through, we looked at it, then it also looked at us like this, catching eyes.
Eye contact.
Man, that experience. And actually, I had it recently here in 2024. But it was life-changing. And that day, I knew why gorilla trekking, the permit is at what?
$800.
There is a glory. There is a story. So many people just when they meet the king, Sabasaja, that glory that comes in. But there is a glory about this might. No, I'm not comparing, but I'm talking about the glory that comes with this might.
I totally understand that.
My friend, and I tell you, it humbled me so much. There's so many lessons that I got from this mountain gorilla, because people are moving around you and you're not bothered. Sometimes that is how we need to take life. Just move your race. Just go on your pace.
Yeah.
Even when things around you are, this one is moving, this one is taking photos, this one is smiling, the other one is crying. Just go on your pace. Okay, I just learned so many things. Anyway, that is another story today. Why do you think the gorilla permits are really costly at $800?
Yeah, and just to re-emphasize, for Ugandans and people in East Africa, the price is a bit lower than that. If you're a Ugandan, it's up to $200,000, $100 there. So Ugandans get an opportunity to explore the mountain gorillas at a lower price. If you are foreign residents, you still get a chance to experience the gorillas at a lower price. The $800 are for international travelers who are not even foreign residents. Yes, that's also something very important to note. But the reason why the permits have been put at $800 is for conservation purposes. Gorillas is not a place where you want to... First of all, these animals are in the national park. So to ensure a win-win situation, they maximized that only 8 people get to see a gorilla family per day, so that they also don't get overwhelmed with so many human beings around them and around their home. Imagine, like, these animals are even so generous. Imagine you're in your home, you're relaxing with your wife and children, and people come and start looking at you, taking photos of you in your house. So to reduce on the impact of the tourism, which is already happening in the forest, they minimize the entry of people for conservation purposes, but then also to protect the dignity of these wildlife, to help them live in their natural habitats. And whenever there are more people in the forest, the wildlife gets stressed, and if they get stressed, they'll fall sick, they will get different diseases, they will even stop mating, so the number of gorillas will go down just because of human interaction that is unregulated. So they reduce the number to 8. But then also because conservation is a very expensive business, they put a high price that even if you're giving out 8, let every person who goes at least give us something which is worth the experience that they have, but then not only worth, but then also it can have a continuity. Because these gorillas, when they're in the forest, they're what we call gorilla doctors. You know, we have people who are protecting the forest from poachers. The people who are protecting the forest from people who are doing logging, you know, cutting down of trees. So all these people are in the system to ensure that the gorillas are protected, are conserved, and maintained. And all these people need a bit of financial muscle and support to be in existence. So that's why the permit is at that price.
Expensive.
Yes.
Okay. I also think that gorilla tourism lies in the high value, low impact tourism segment.
Exactly, yeah.
And gorilla tourism is basically built on a very simple idea that is that I've said that high value, low impact. We basically want fewer people, but getting a very high or quality experience, yet leaving a very low impact on the environment. So you see that this price, the $800 is intentional. That we get fewer visitors instead of having thousands of visitors, cheap visitors actually. We get fewer luxury visitors that are going to leave low impact on the environment when they track these gorillas. So I think that the $800 is worth, and the direction that Uganda Wildlife Authority and all the conservation bodies that are in charge of gorillas, I think they're taking the right direction with this, because we need to curb the numbers that are coming in.
Yes, that's true. I think it's also important to look at what someone who is watching us, if you want to do gorilla tracking, what are some of the preparations you need physically, mentally, psychologically, to ensure that you have a rewarding experience?
Yes.
One, the gorillas are found in a forest, an impenetrable tropical forest. So movement in the forest, depending on the day and sector and time, is going to be a bit challenging, you know. So we always encourage someone who's planning to do the gorilla tracking to do a little bit of physical activity. It could even be something as simple as going up and down stairs. You know, so by the time you're in the forest, you're not easily affected by the terrain, you know, because there are a number of hills that sometimes have to be conquered for you to be able to see the gorillas. But then also, it's important for you to inform your guide your capacity or your capabilities, because there are different sectors that have more challenging conquests than others. Remember, the gorilla tracking experience is an adventure.
Yeah.
You know, so that the adventure can be affected by the different areas where you experience it. Then, even if it's a low season or high season, Bwindi being a rainforest, chances of raining are high. So even on your travel kit, we shall tell you to pack, you know, a raincoat, safari boots, and even ant trapping guards, because you can easily find different ants moving through the forest. It's also important for you to know that the experience can range between 4 hours, sometimes even 3 hours, you know, to 6 hours, depending on the sector where you track. Chances of seeing mountain gorillas are very, very, very high, because Uganda has the biggest population of mountain gorillas. You know, just keep at the back of your mind that you are in the best hands for gorilla conservation, but then also gorilla tracking experience. If you want an experience which is really rewarding, Uganda is the place to go. And out of all the 5 sectors where you can track, you can definitely pick one which meets your needs.
Lynette, where does the money go? The $800?
Yes, so the money is divided in different areas. Part of it goes into the national treasury for the government of Uganda, and then 20% goes to the communities around the park. And they not only get a 20% like as a stipend, like the money is here, but this money goes into the schools, into the hospitals, into the healthcare network, you know. And then the government comes in and also works on the roads in the area, works on the water, the services, the electricity. All these are services that ideally wouldn't have been able to reach this area, but because of the mountain gorillas in Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, which is in that particular area, all these supporting services have been able to reach the area. Yes. And also the government is able to prioritize the funding and investment into this area because of that.
Okay, I think as we are winding up, Lynette, let's ask the viewer here. To be honest, would you pay the $800 to trek these gorillas in a dense forest, or you would rather go and see the gorilla in a zoo? What's easier for you, and what do you think is more impactful?
Yes.
As a viewer,
Yes.
feel free to comment in the comment section. We shall be discussing and also getting back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also tell us, have you taken part in gorilla tracking?
Yeah.
If not, what has stopped you from taking part in gorilla tracking in Uganda? Because for Ugandans, remember, the price is less than $100.
Yes.
You know, so it's not the $800 that someone else has. And if you have taken part in gorilla tracking, how was your experience? Tell us in the comment section. What did you like? What didn't you like? What could have been done better? We're always here to learn, to grow, and share together.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can follow me on all my social media pages at Lynette Nakamanya. That is LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and we share all about tourism.
Please also don't forget to follow me on all my social medias, just like she has mentioned them. I go by Irene Alena Misango. But also, if you've not yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe so that you
Uganda
get notifications.
Uncovered.
Yeah, you get notifications every time we put up new episodes, and we have new episodes weekly. And if you need anything that is about travel
consultancy
services, please don't hesitate to contact us. We are at your service to serve you and make sure that you start making sales in this sector.
Yes.
Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.